Good job.
President, please be seated. The chamber is now back in session, and I would like to give the floor to the defense counsel to put question to the witness. And first of all, the floor is given to the defense counsel for Nguyen Chi. And the chamber also would like to inform parties that they
Oh no, I didn't get I don't think we got an English translation, no.
The chamber now continue the session, and the floor now is given to the defense counsel to put question to the civil party, to the witness. And first of all, the floor is given to the defense counsel for Nguyen Chi, and the chamber also would like to inform that this morning the chamber used the pseudonym for witness 960, rather witness 1066, and that document E3/10/684 and E3/10/683, that if excerpts are extracted from these two documents, the hearing must be made unpublic. And now the floor is given to defense counsel for Nguyen Chi.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a matter of fact,
I think the ruling was a bit unclear.
No, I think it's clear to me, but I'm actually going to ask a question about it. As I understand, the witness will only be referred to parties by his pseudonym, and once I confront this witness with an excerpt, we should close the doors, which is fine with me. So I will save my question until the end. However, one note, and that is the following. The question that I will be asking this witness and the excerpt that I will be confronting him with is probably or potentially relevant to the Supreme Court chamber. So if we close the doors, then whoever is following these proceedings on behalf of the Supreme Court chamber will not be able to hear the answer. I don't know if the answer is going to be relevant, but it potentially is. So I would like to signal that problem beforehand.
I think we can deal with that afterwards. Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Witness. I don't have many questions for you, just a few follow-up questions as well. Let me start by asking you, Mr. Witness, do you read and write?
I can write to some extent, and as for reading, I can also read to some extent.
Mr. President, with your leave, I would like to show the witness an excerpt from document E3/1170, English ERN 00602544 and following, Khmer 0044 3016 and 17, and French 06544 895.
President, your request is granted.
Mr. Witness, I am showing you an organogram of what is wrongfully called the Northeast Zone Army. It should be the Northwest Zone Army. The reason why this is obvious, Mr. President, is not only because of all the names mentioned there, but also reference to typically, or not typically, but cities and villages in the Northwest Zone, such as Bailin, Kreng, etc. So the author of this organogram mistakenly said Northeast Zone Army. This is a Northwest Zone Army. Mr. Witness, if you can have a look at this document, let me guide you through the document a bit. It says Division 1 and Division 2. Now let me start with the names that you can see headed under Division 2. I can read the names in English. They say, respectively, number 1, Kleng, number 2, Khoi, number 3, Ren. My question to you is the following. In your answer in your WRI 58, you refer to Sarun, or also known as Ren. Is this in fact the Commander Ren that you have been referring to?
Can I ask you something, witness, following up what counsel said? Can you read this organogram? Because you said I can read a bit. Can you read this organogram? Meaning the paper in front of you. Or can you not?
I saw the names, but I do not understand.
I understand it's a bit difficult. Let me take it step by step. In your WRI E3/10681, in question and answer 58, you talk about the commander of the division, and you say his name was Sarun, alias Ren. And when you now go to the document I'm showing you, Division 2 has someone named Ren mentioned. So you can see one Kleng, who is the secretary of Division 2, Koi, who is the deputy secretary of Division 2, and Ren, a member of Division 2. Is he the one you talk about, or rather, is Ren the one who is mentioned in as the leader of Regiment 70 below? Or there's also a Ren a bit down who was based in Pailin. So my question is, when you speak about the division commander Sarun alias Ren, do you see that name in that organogram I showed you?
Yes.
And Ren, Sarun alias Ren, is that the number 3 of Division 2, the member of the highest command of Division 2, is that correct?
At this point, I do not know which division he belonged to. I only knew when the event in which Ren was involved, and that's what I knew. But as for which division he was part of or where he came from, I had no idea.
Do you know when this particular division was named Division 2? Do you know when that came about?
I also did not know.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Now, on that very same page, on the left side, you can also see names belonging to Division 1. It says that Nong Sarim, alias San, was the secretary of Division 1. No, it's deputy secretary. And 3, Chon, it's member. Do you see those 3 names?
Yes, I saw the names on the paper here in front of me. But I do not know which divisions they belong to. And I did not know them either. I only saw their names on the paper in front of me right now, but previously I never knew them.
So just to be sure, I'm particularly interested in number 3, Chorn, alias Chun. This is someone that you didn't know at the time and you didn't know later, correct?
I have a question. Counsel said Chon, alias. Where does the alias come from? He said Chon, alias Chun. I don't see that in the document.
Correct. It's not from the document. It's from the OCIJ list. So if I have to withdraw that part, I have no problem. But this particular Chorn is named as number 336 on the OCIJ list. His name is Uk Chinung alias Chon, commander of Division 1. So that's where I have the alias from, but I'm happy to limit myself to Chorn. Mr. Witness, so the Division 1 Commander Chorn is someone who is not known to you, correct?
That's correct.
Now let me follow up the issue that was raised.
President Victor Kope, please hold on, and the floor is given to Judge Lavenge.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Kope, but for purposes of the transcript, can we know who the author of this organogram is and when it was created?
D'où vient ce document?
Where does this document come from?
It's not entirely clear, but presumably it's a document that was originating from an S21 cadre. We have discussed this document, I believe, with Duik. But I'm not entirely sure. It is coming from a notebook, but I'm not quite sure who the author is. In addition, I might add that it might be a post-79 notebook as well, at least, or a notebook in which an overview was made after 79. At least that's what DCCAM seems to be suggesting. So it's either an S21 cadre or presumably originating from DCCAM.
It's identified in the title as a DCCAM, sorry. At least in the, when you open the documents, it's identified as a DCCAM document and as a Khmer Rouge Black, I'm just trying to open it now, Black Journal, I think.
Correct, but it's a bit odd in its
the description, yes.
In its description. So I'm not entirely sure if it is in fact a DCCAM document or rather belonging to a cadre. Mr. Witness, I was going to refer to an issue that was discussed last Thursday. You were read out an excerpt from a book authored by Tet Sambat and Gina Chon. It was suggested that the quote which was read out to you had originated from you. However, as I made clear in that same hearing, the other filmmaker, Robert Lemkin, is saying that this quote never came from you.
Excuse me, I object. Counsel is testifying, and inaccurately, the email from Mr. Lemkin. I don't know if it's confidential. I don't know if he was sent to you confidentially, but I have no problem with the email itself being part of the record. And counsel has his interpretation. I have mine. It seems to me it's clear that the witness, or Mr. Lemkin rather, was saying that people were promised confidentiality and should not have been named. But he certainly doesn't say, I forget the exact words counsel used, that this witness never said that. That's not what he says in the email.
I presume that your memo is automatically by itself part of the case file. If it's not, then I'm happy to read it into the transcript.
No, it's... It's obviously part of the case file. The question is it confidential or public? I don't have it at the moment, but you obviously have it in front of you.
I don't think it's confidential. It doesn't say so.
Because as soon as the names are mentioned... Sorry.
Again, it's your memo, so you should tell me if it's confidential, yes or no.
And I'll ask staff to do this immediately. Could you please use something else in the meanwhile?
Yes. So you were read out, as I said before, a quote from Ted Sambat's book. The question was asked by the judge whether you said this. You said no. Mention is being made in that quote of Chil Chun, the Vision Commander. Let me backtrack a bit. Were you present when a person named on that same page, 106, of Ted Sambat's book, ERN 00757532, Khmer 00858342, French 00849437, is mentioned. In that book we can read about Chanza Phut, who was, according to the book, head of the hospital in his region in Battambang. You yourself speak about Chan Samut, question and answer 163. But were you present when filmmakers Lemkin and Sambat interviewed Chan Savut or Chan Samut?
I do not aware of this.
Well, when the filmmakers asked Chan Samut or Chan Savut questions, were you in the room when they asked questions?
No, I was not there.
Let me then ask you what you said yourself about Chan Samut. Question and answer, as I said, 163. Chan Samut is living in Rumlek village, Rumlek commune, Pakan district, Pursat province. He stayed with me, but his parents were taken to be killed when he was in Battambang. Did Chan Samut tell you about any event which occurred in Bakan district before he went to Battambang? No, he didn't. Do you recall saying this to the investigator? You talked about Chan Samut.
Yes, I can recall it now about Chan Samut. When I was transferred to work as a worker at the railway station, I met Chan Samut. I did not know when he arrived, but I met him there. Chan Samut was from Rumlek, and he was imprisoned during Lunal war time. And after the war ended, he joined to be the railway worker. And he was from Rumlek. Later on, he never went to visit his homeland. He's from Cambodia Kraum, and the Cambodia Kraum people were purged. And after the Vietnamese liberated the country, we realized that his parents had been killed. I met him during the time when we were worker at the railway station, and we remained together there.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. This is all about Chan Samut. Did Chan Samut ever tell you at one point in time that he was the head of the hospital in the region in Battambang?
No, Chan Samut was never be a medic. The one whose name was Chan Samut that remained with me, he was an ethnic Cambodia Kraum. He told me not to tell anyone that he from Cambodia Kraum. He never held any position as unit chiefs or cooperative chiefs. He was simply just a worker like me.
So the Chan Samut you know never told you he was a medical doctor or the chief of the military hospital in Battambang, or had a high-ranking function in Division 1, correct?
That's correct. As far as I know him, because he lived in a nearby village to mine, he never learned any medical studies or training. I met him when I was joining the railway workforce, and we remained working there together.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Now, just to be very clear on this, you said you were never present during Lemkin and Tetsambat's interview with Chan Savut. But in your encounters with Robert Lemkin and Tetsambat, did they ever speak about Chan Savut having told them that Runim instructed Chun, the Division 1 commander, the name that I just mentioned on the organogram, to contact Thai communists, start psychological war, etc. Is that my understanding? Should that be my understanding, that Tetsambat and Lemkin never spoke to you about Chan Savut and what Runim had instructed his division commander 1 Chun?
No.
Now, Mr. President, I'm revisiting your memo. in which you quote from Lemkin's email, and I would like to see if I can discuss that.
Just a second. It is confidential currently, but we are... to reclassify this public. Is there any objection to reclassify this memo as public from the prosecution?
No.
Lead lawyers? No. Defense team? No. Obviously not this defense team. Okay.
The chamber decides to recategorize the document into a public, and for that reason the parties may use this document in the public session.
Thank you, Mr. President. The question has been asked and answered, but for the record and for the public, it is your memo of 27 September to all parties, and in paragraph 2, the Chamber refers to an email sent to WESU on the 1st of September 2016 by Robert Lemkin. Let me quote from this. Thanks for your emails. For reasons given many times to the court previously, I cannot accede to either request, disclose the identity of W4, and provide the requested footage. And then it comes, with regard to your second, more recent set of requests, In Tune and Chil Chun are incorrectly named on pages 104 and 106 respectively of Behind the Killing Fields, a book I had nothing to do with. I was careful to say that W1 in my earlier notes was person sick, between brackets, named as In Tune on page 104. That is not his real name, and I'm not free to divulge his real name. However, the investigation units has been provided with so many clues, I'm sure they can make their own inquiries. End of quote. And for the record, Mr. President, if one reads the actual quote, in the opinion of the defense, there can be no misunderstanding as to the tune that Chancellor is referring to, namely not this tune who is testifying today, but the tune who was Division Commander 1, and whose name we can see not only in the OCIJ list, but also on that organogram.
Well, there's a time for argument. I think that's at the end of the case. But counsel's theory is unsupported. The person he talked about on the OCIJ list is named Ok Chung, a completely different name. So I understand that he's not happy with what the witness has said, but what we know is that what's said in the book, this witness, Chil Chun, did not say.
Again, it's not terribly important, but the public should know that the person who interviewed both Chan Savut and also this witness is very clear that Chan Savut is not speaking about him being a division commander, but obviously about the real Division 1 commander. Having said that, Mr. President, let me move on to my next point.
Please hold on, Councillor Copper and Judge Laverne, you have the floor.
Whom are you referring to, Counsel Koppe, when you're speaking about the person who interviewed the witness who is here in the courtroom today? Are you referring to Ted Sambat or to Rob Lemkin?
Both of them worked together. This witness...
Écoutez,
listen, Counsel Koppe, as far as I know, I believe that the video excerpts that were screened last Thursday concern a meeting that took place in Thailand. And regarding this meeting, it appears to me that the witness said that Rob Lemkin was not present. So I do not know how you can say that Rob Lemkin interviewed this witness. So can you please clarify?
I'm not entirely sure, Mr. Witness, what exactly you said about your cooperation with Sambat and Lemkin, but let me ask you to be very clear. Can you tell us how many times you accompanied Lemkin and Sambat on their trips, if at all? And were you yourself ever interviewed by one of them?
He never interviewed me. However, he went together with Ted Sambat when we went to Thailand.
So,
Yes, if I could just bring to Your Honor's attention and Mr. Koppa's attention in regards to his theory that the person that Tet Sambat and Rob Lemkin interviewed, end quote, on page 106 of Behind the Killing Fields, was Oak Chung, number 6336, on the OCIJ list. Counsel may also refer to document D108/26.86 at English 00873-643, number 110 on that list of the prisoners smashed on 18 October 1977 was Ook Chung. So I guess counsel's theory is that they interviewed a man who was killed in S21. I think the movie was made long after 1979.
if you had paid a bit attention as to what I actually said, Mr. Prosecution, I know that also Lemkin and Ted Sambat cannot interview people who are dead. They interviewed Chan Savut. Chan Savut is the head of the hospital in region Battambang, according to the book. That's correct. It says Runim instructed Chil Chun, a division commander, to contact the Thai communists. Now, in the book, that's our position, and we have convincing evidence for it. It's not this Chun, but is in fact Division Commander Chun, the one that I just referred to. And that person is indeed dead because he features on the OCIJ list. So, obviously, Sambat and Lemkin have not been able to interview Chun, who was Division 1 commander, but they interviewed Chan Savut, who in his turn referred to Chun. And the English, Tet Sambat doesn't speak English, and the English writer, Gina Chon, mixed up this Chun with Division 1 Commander Chun. That's what happened, and to us it's crystal clear.
Excuse me. Counsel's now testified that Tet Sambat does not speak English. In the movie, he's speaking English throughout the film.
And you have also testified what you think, what mistake was made. Can we stop the pleading? The facts are here, the relevant documents are here. The chamber will make
This-
up its mind. We
this-
can plead at a later stage.
This is what the prosecution does all the time when they actually read S21 documents. That's what they do all the time.
And we have allowed it for some time now, as you might have noticed.
It was an objection, a wrongful objection. Mr. Witness, let me return to my question. You said you were never interviewed by Lemkin and Sambat. Can you tell us on how many trips you went with them? Was it only the one time to Thailand, or did you accompany them on more trips?
I went with them to Thailand for one time, and we did not go anywhere else. However, when they came to my area, they questioned me of the locations that they could conduct their shooting, and I showed them the surrounding locations where they could do their filming.
Dân trạp tấu của con.
And after I told them, then they asked me to take them to the locations, and usually those locations were between 200 to 300 meters from where I lived, and that's where they shot their film. And besides that, I did not accompany them anywhere else. The only trip that I made with them was to Thailand.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Before I move to my last subject, one follow-up question in relation to your work at the railway station that the prosecution seems to be interested in. You talked about trains that you offloaded or helped offload. Can you tell us where the trains were coming from and for whom the cargo was meant?
In fact, I did not assist in offloading the cargo. However, I was there, I was repairing the railroad, and I saw the train coming from Phnom Penh direction, and it carried goods, namely cement. And people from the commerce section actually carried those cements into the warehouse. Our group did not involve in the carrying of those goods. Our work was to build the railroad there, and I saw what happened. For cement, sometimes they were offloaded from the train wagons and upload them onto trucks, and the trucks were driven away. And at other times, then they were stored in a nearby warehouse.
But just to be sure, you did not know from which unit or zone the goods were coming from, and for whom they were ultimately destined. Is that correct?
I did not know about that.
Yes, and now, Mr. President, I suppose we have to close the doors, because I'm moving to an excerpt from the testimony of TCW 10,600 something.
President, the Chamber will proceed with the in-camera hearing. Will unit please disconnect audio and video to the public gallery as well as to the press room, or to staff members of the ECC via internal distribution, except those staff who are involved directly with the proceedings. who should be entitled to see and hear what is going on next. I'd like now to hand the floor to the defense team for Kyu Sampon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to all of you. Simply to let you know that we're going to stand to our position, which we described when Judge Laverne put questions to the witness, and we believe that there's very, very little connection between this witness and case 002/2. Therefore, we have no questions to put to this witness.
President, thank you, Counsel. And Mr. Chilchun, the Chamber is grateful of your testimony. It is now the conclusion of your testimony, and we hope that your testimony may contribute to ascertainment of the truth in this case. You are now excused and you may return to your residence. We wish you all the very best. And Soksojita, the Judicial Council, the Chamber is also grateful of your assistance. You are no longer required to be present in the courtroom. Court officer, please work with Visu to arrange Mr. Chilchun to return to his residence or wherever he wishes to return to. It is also now appropriate for our lunch break. The Chamber will take a lunch break now and resume at 1:30 this afternoon to continue our proceedings. Security personnel, you are instructed to take Keo Sampon to the waiting room downstairs and have him returned to attend the proceedings this afternoon. Before 1:30, the court stands in recess.